fascinating. We're going to look at the different ways that advanced technology has finally deciphered the Dead Sea Scrolls. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. First, we're going to look at how NASA used some of their technology to help us decipher the Dead Sea Scrolls. In an article by nasa.gov, it says that in 1993, NASA used digital infrared imaging to help decipher the Dead Sea Scrolls. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in California used a multispectral camera outfitted with a liquid crystal filter designed to rapidly change wavelengths, and this caused never-before-seen text in the scroll to finally become visible. These scrolls had kind of decayed and changed color over thousands of years to where the text itself was basically the exact same color as the scroll. It was invisible, and they applied their multispectral camera on the Genesis Apocryphon text, which is one of the most significant texts in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and this actually brought out the words that were invisible up until this point, allowing us to be able to read this Dead Sea Scroll for the first time. Another amazing technology that has been used to decipher the Dead Sea Scrolls is DNA technology. So the way that this works is when the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered, they weren't discovered as a bunch of scrolls, like full entire scrolls completely intact. Instead, they were mostly found as hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of little fragments with just a word or two, like puzzle pieces. Now the problem was that piecing these little fragments together was like solving a very complicated puzzle, but they were all mixed together with different scrolls. It was unclear which fragments belonged to which scrolls. It would be like trying to solve multiple puzzles but having all of the pieces mixed together and not knowing which pieces go with which puzzles. It was a very complex process that was taking literally decades, and then someone came up with the idea to basically test the fragments' DNA. Since these scrolls are parchment made from animal skin, they have DNA, and so they decided to test the different fragments' DNA to figure out which fragments belong with which scrolls so that they would be easier to piece together. An article by Scientific American explains that researchers have tried for decades to piece together the ever-growing heaps of fragments. Ivor Tigchelar, a specialist in the Dead Sea Scrolls and ancient Judaism, said that there are some 20 to 30 literary works of which we have many fragments without knowing how to arrange them in their original order. He says, the new technology provides important evidence that will serve as a major step for the reconstruction of these manuscripts. So DNA technology has helped us to decipher the Dead Sea Scrolls. The next advanced technology that has helped us decipher the Dead Sea Scrolls is actually artificial intelligence. An article by ABC Science explains how this works. It says that basically they scanned the text of the Great Isaiah Scroll, which I actually have a copy of right there, the Great Isaiah Scroll, probably the most significant Dead Sea Scroll in the entire set. They scanned its text and were able to notice tiny differences in the handwriting style to figure out that two different scribes actually wrote the Great Isaiah Scroll. It says, the idea was to use computers to analyze digital images of the scroll text and identify tiny differences in handwriting that are unique to individuals, a method known as digital paleography. And so after they scanned this scroll, they figured out two different scribes wrote the scroll, which helped us understand the writing process behind the Great Isaiah Scroll, and also gave us an in-depth look at the scribal culture in the Qumran community where the Dead Sea Scrolls were written. So this is very important because it kind of takes us one layer back to the historical process behind how we got the Dead Sea Scrolls. Next, we're going to look at a very interesting topic, which is how scientific technology was used to reveal that all of the Dead Sea Scrolls in the Museum of the Bible in Washington, D.C. were fake. Every single one. So the Museum of the Bible bought a number, I think 16 Dead Sea Scrolls off of the antiquities market from an antiquities dealer, but then some scholars started expressing that they thought that maybe these scrolls were not authentic. So the Museum of the Bible commissioned scholars to test the scrolls and see whether or not they were authentic, and the tests came back saying that every single one of these scrolls was indeed fake. An article by National Geographic explains some of the scientific technology that was used to reveal that these scrolls were forgeries. It says, most damningly, careful microscopic analysis showed that the fragment's scripture was painted onto already ancient leather. On many of the pieces, suspiciously shiny ink pools in cracks and waterfalls off of torn edges that wouldn't have been present when the leather was new. On others, the forger's brush strokes clearly overlie the ancient leather's bumpy mineral crust. It goes on, even more detailed chemical analyses led by Buffalo State College conservation scientist Aaron Sugar raised additional red flags. By shining X-rays on the fragments, the researchers could map different chemical elements across the fragment's surfaces, which revealed that calcium had soaked deeply into the leather pieces. The element's distribution strongly hinted that the leather had been treated with lime to chemically remove its hairs. So what we get from the microscopic analysis and from the X-ray analysis revealed that these manuscripts, for which the Museum of the Bible paid millions upon millions of dollars, were all fake. It is an amazing combination of advanced technology that has helped us realize that these scrolls are fake, and also advanced technology that has helped us decipher the authentic Dead Sea Scrolls. It's fascinating to think of all the things that go into authenticating ancient manuscripts. If you like this video, please subscribe. In my next video, I'm going to actually take a look at an epistle from the 1st century that was written by all of the apostles, an epistle you probably haven't heard of, and I'm going to show how this epistle actually gives evidence for the reliability of the Gospels. You won't want to miss it, so please subscribe so you'll be able to catch that video. Until then, take it easy.